Welcome to this next reflection during our summer reading challenge on the Psalms. When the team producing these reflections met together for the first time over Zoom at the beginning of the summer, Archdeacon Simon asked each of us which Psalms we would choose to reflect on. I wonder if you were asked which Psalms you might have chosen and why. Maybe you'd have chosen one of the more well-known Psalms like Psalm 23 or part of Psalm 139. Or maybe there's a different Psalm that has had a particular significance for you in your faith journey. The Psalm I've chosen for today's reflection is Psalm 116, which I hope you've had the chance to read or listen to already. I've been journeying with this Psalm since the summer of 2014. I come back to it regularly, each time seeing or hearing something different. It's amazing, isn't it, how we can come to verses that we've read or listened to so many times before, but all of a sudden a particular word or a verse jumps off the page at us and speaks to our heart and soul, and once again we know God's word to be alive and active. As you read the psalm or listened to it, I wonder which words or verses particularly jumped out at you. Psalm 116 has been so significant to me in my recent vocational journey, first towards becoming a local missional leader in the autumn of 2016, and now as an ordinand. God has continued to speak to me through this psalm, to encourage me, to lift my head in darker times, and to fill me with hope and expectation at others as I follow his call on my life. So Psalm 116 is part of a group of 6 praise songs, Psalms 113 to Psalm 118, and they're known as the Egyptian Hallel, Hallel meaning praise, and there are songs used in corporate worship. They were traditionally sung at major festivals and especially at Passover. This psalm is full of the thoughts and emotions of the psalmist, as well as an eclectic mix of statements and questions and ponderings. And it can at times feel like a series of somewhat unconnected reflections. If you try and read it aloud in one go, you may see what I mean. But although it was used in corporate worship, the Psalms has a lot of individual and personal tones in it. The words I, me and my appear in almost every verse. It's full of testimony about the relationship with and experience of God. The opening verses in particular express this beautifully. I love the Lord, for he has heard my voice. He has heard my cry for mercy. Because he has turned his ear to me, I will call on him as long as I live. He commits himself to the worship and service of God for the rest of his life. And this isn't just a momentary whim. This is the statement of someone who's endured many things. He talks about having been delivered from death, his eyes from tears, his feet from stumbling, of having been overcome by anguish and trouble, sorrow, affliction, of having been in great needs and even of being in chains. He's cried out to God in the middle of the storm, "Oh Lord, save me." How God answered, or how long the crisis lasted, we just don't know. But we know that he believed that God had heard him and responded to his desperate cry. He knows the Lord to be gracious, to be righteous and compassionate. And it's clearly not just theory, it is born out of experience. And what is his response? How can he repay the Lord for all his goodness? It's a life of commitment expressed publicly in the presence of the worshipping community. So what about you? How does this particular psalm speak to you? Are you in a place of darkness and just need to cry out to God like the psalmist? Oh God, save me. Or maybe you need to hear the words, be at rest once more, O my soul, for the Lord has been good to you. The verse that began my ongoing journey with this psalm. Or maybe it's a time to reflect on knowing the goodness of God. How have you responded? What steps do you need to take to follow his call to live as his disciple? And maybe, as I've experienced, God might just start to speak to you in a still small voice about a specific call on your life that you are not expecting. So why not read it once more and just see?